Hi, welcome to Pardon My Frenchie. This is me, 143. If you don't have a friend, you have one now. Welcome to Tuesday night, Pet Loss Tuesday. Welcome. If you are here, I am happy that you have found us. The girls are lively. They have found a bunch of toys, so they are playing over in the corner now. So that is good. Well, welcome everybody. Let me move them over here. So how is everybody tonight on Pet Loss Tuesday? Pet Loss Tuesday. Welcome. If you are here, throw your name in the chat. I am happy that everybody that is here has joined. Hello, beautiful moderator. I was actually ready to hit the button at 7 p.m. and then the girls were getting in the toy bin and it threw me off a little bit there. So, hey, Aaron, welcome. So I had to run over to the toy bin real quick and grab a bunch of toys out of there. If not, they were going to be knocking all the toys out of the bin. So I had to run over real quick before I hit the live button. If not, it was going to be a hot mess. So, so I thought that would be best to get them all settled before we got the show started. So, hey, Michelle, welcome. Again, if you are new here, welcome. Glad that Dave is here. Dave and Violet are here. Hello, welcome. Glad that everybody's here. If you found us, welcome to Pet Loss Tuesday. We've got some really good topics tonight. Really good stuff tonight. I hope everybody enjoys it. Again, if you're new here, throw your name in the chat. I really, if you've lost a pet this week or last week or months ago, pet loss is an ongoing thing. It's not something that you get over quickly. It is something that is a process that takes time. So that is the reason for this channel. It is something that I work on. That is a mission of mine to make pet loss, grief, and support socially acceptable, and get more awareness out there that if you are going through pet loss, if you can hear my girls in the back, they are playing tug of war. So yes. And yeah, over the past week, I gained 180 new subscribers, which is absolutely fabulous. So I'm very happy that 180 new people have found us, which is wonderful. And welcome, Patty. Welcome. So again, 180 new people found us, and that is just fabulous. So just very, very happy about that. And I, just if people, absolutely need the channel. Oh no, Sunshine Girl, you lost your girl 7 weeks ago. I am so sorry. What, Sunshine Girl, what did you lose? What was her name and what did you lose? Or tell us what her name is. And Michelle, what is your great news? Well, Sunshine Girl is putting her information in the chat. Yeah, and Sun, Bella. Bella. Is that no? Is Bella's the one is that the one that you were talking about this past week? I am so sorry. And the profile. I am so sorry. I am so sorry. And you know what? That again. That is. Oh no. Oh, it's not the one you were talking about. Okay. You know what? We had in the last live that we had, there was another Bella that we had that passed this on our other live. Bella, Bella is a very, very popular, beautiful name for a dog. I am so very sorry for your loss. But you are in a good place, surrounded with surrounded by a a group of people that uh, understand your journey and understand where you are, um, where you're at. So you are loved and you are supported. That is definitely for sure. So thank you for being with us tonight, and know that you know that you know that you are definitely loved and supported. So definitely loved and supported. So welcome, welcome. So the they're fine. The girls are playing tug of war, and the Dungeon Master co-producer has just come and swiped one of them up. Um, so, anyways, um, but anyway, so welcome everyone. Um, Michelle, what was your good news for today? What was your good news for today? And so, oh, well, and so we have we have welcome. We've got a bunch of people coming on tonight too. If you're new here, um, oh, oh okay. I'm sorry. I totally missed it. My apologies. I'm going in like 10 directions. So yeah, that is great news. That is great news. It is, and like I said, I'm very blessed by everybody that is joining and finding the channel, and like I said, the more people that we can reach, the bed. That's my ultimate goal, is to make sure that people find us, and um, if anybody can get some sort of comfort and healing during their journey of pet loss, or even on our regular days, Frenchy Fridays, we just have open forums, and usually have good time, just with open topics, or just the regular uh, time with our other videos where I do pet treats, and just kind of our goofy videos. So um, oh, oh, you joined an art class. Oh, yay! That's very cool. I want to see that. I want to. Michelle said that she started another painting class, or started another painting of Bubba in the forest. I want to see that. You gotta post that on Facebook. Very cool. Very cool. So this past weekend was Mother's Day, so that was very cool. Had a very good Mother's Day. Was was taken out to Cracker Barrel, which, if you're not from the States, it is just a very nice restaurant, and we'll tell a nice funny story. We were all very hungry, and they came out with all the trays of food, and um, the wait the waitress had our tray of food, and we were so hungry. She dropped a bunch of butter, and there was another gentleman that was helping her, and he bent down to pick up the butter. When he did that, he came up, and his head hit her plate of all of our food. He hit the tray coming up, and all the food went with it and went all over the floor and crashed and went all over the place. It was actually like a Three Stooges thing, and everything went crashing, and it was like a dinner and a show. So luckily, my food was saved, and but the moderator and the co-producer had to wait for a whole new set of food. But I'm not gonna lie, I got a good laugh out of the whole thing. But it just all the food went crashing down, and and then after that, we went to see the Michael Jackson movie, which was absolutely fabulous. So if anybody gets just a chance to go see the Michael Jackson movie, that was fabulous. Great movie. So go check that out. I would definitely even see it again. That's how good that movie was. So go check that out. Unfortunately, Saturday, my poor son was riding his e-bike, which, if anybody doesn't know what that is, it's an electric bike, and he was going very fast on it, and his back brakes failed on him, and he ended up breaking his wrist. And so we were in the emergency room and with a broken wrist, and so that was a fun Mother's Day for me. So yeah, so that was a good time. Yeah, I know. Yeah, we were. They put him in a splint thing, and then we had to go to the children's hospital today, where they actually put the full cast on him today. So so he'll be in that for a good 6 weeks, and so yeah, so he should be healing up well. So but so uh, so moving on to and yeah, it was, it was just a oh, it was, yeah, it was just awfully, just, painful. And I think more than anything, the wrist pain was like, he totally like busted his knee open, and just them cleaning that out. But I will tell you what, when we were in the ER, I felt bad because there was another little girl in there that had a fishing hook in her face. And I mean, talk about bad. Oof. I mean, breaking a wrist is one thing, but having a fishing hook in your face, I don't know about that. I don't know if I could deal with all that. So I'd hate to have a fishing hook in my face. So, but anyway, so let's get into let's get into the reason why we're here today. So that today is Pet Loss Tuesday, and I've got two topics that I wanted to jump into for today that I thought was very fitting. So, as kind of to recap, today is Pet Loss Tuesday for Tuesdays, 7 p.m. And then again, Frenchy Fridays are going to be at 8 p.m. I do them a little bit later on Fridays, just since this weather's so nice, and makes it a little bit nicer on Fridays. Everybody can kind of enjoy Fridays. But so first topic I want to kind of dive into, and they'll kind of coincide with each other a little bit, but I got this one's was interesting. One of our people that watch wanted to talk about this, and I thought it was, it was, they wanted me to bring it up, and because I did it. I thought it was interesting, so I wanted to do some research on it and bring it up, because it is something that hits a lot of people, and I don't think that I don't think that we realize some of this when it comes to pet loss and how it affects us. But anyways, one of our watchers, she had a dog which recently passed away, that she inherited, and what it was she inherited the dog, and she wasn't necessarily completely attached to the dog. And oh, thank you. I'm glad you found the channel too. Thank you. But she inherited this dog, and she wasn't totally attached to the dog. She loved the dog. But she inherited the dog from her mother. Her mother passed away 6 years ago, and so the dog passed away a couple weeks ago. she's having she's having an awkward time with it because when the dog passed away, she's the problem she's having is because it's like it's like losing her mom all over again. So even though she wasn't completely attached to the dog, like say like how when we've lost, the reason why a lot of us are here is because we struggled with um, you know the animals that we were our bonded animals, right? The ones that we were really connected to, and like your Bella, like my Sammy, like our ones that we were our dogs, our cats, or whatever animals we were bonded to. Well, this lady wasn't necessarily bonded with this dog like that, but her connection was that this dog represented um, the bond she had with her mother. So when the dog passed, it was like she was losing her mother all over again. And now that the dog passed, it was like the final piece of her mom was emotionally, like it was like the symbolism that her mom it was completely gone forever. And um, it made it 10 times, even though her mom has been gone for 6 years, it was kind of like it was that final piece of the puzzle that made it more real for her. And oh, my little Coquille Chanel is being bad. Uh, you know, I love my dogs, but boy, when they get down here in my studio, they get into being rotten sometimes. So, but anyway, but it was like that. It's so when this dog passed, it was like it made it real that it was like that final piece of the puzzle for her, that her mom, or because her dad has been passed for a long time. Come here, Rosie. And this is, for those of you who don't know, this is Rosie. This is Rosie. And Rosie's usually good, and she will sit up here. Coco's my one that gets into stuff, so Rosie will sit up here now and be will. But yeah, so it was like that final piece of the puzzle for her, that the the potato, but it was like the dog was like the physical symbol that her mom was gone. And it's interesting how sometimes that happens, right? Rosie the potato, exactly, Rosie the potato. And I think sometimes that we do that in life. We attach different things. Different things have symbolism like that, but it was also kind of, it was also like, her identity, our family's like our identity, right? And it's it's interesting because, again, the dog wasn't, it wasn't, again, she wasn't, that emotionally attached to her, but it became, something that was emotionally attached to her, and she grieved very hard about it. She grieved the death of the dog very hard because, again, it was like grieving the loss of her mom. But people also do this with other things when they have pets that were part of their prior relationships. Maybe that, when they had, babies, or maybe they had a dog that was with them through, maybe a relationship that failed, or, I know that, usually when people, they'll, I have a friend that was that way too. She, she had a dog that was with her through, a relationship that, was there through the beginning of the relationship, and then unfortunately when the relationship, ended, and then the dog passed away right away, afterwards, and she all she kept saying was, that dog was with me through, the good and the bad, and saw me at my best and my worst, and it's just amazing that we don't realize that our pets are there for us 24/7. They see us at our best, they see us at our worst, they see us when most people would, they turn around and run, right? And so they're part of our identity, and so it's like a weird, like, psychological game that we play with ourselves. So I was looking at pictures today of, my son turns 13 on Friday, and so I was looking at pictures today of, because Mother's Day was, uh, you know 13 years ago today, and we were out somewhere, and he was, I was still pregnant at the time, and I was looking at pictures today, and there's a few pictures of my dogs that were alive back then, and they were, uh, all over me, and I remembered that some of the dogs were, just like how when I was pregnant they were all over me. They were, they were so just like attached to me when I was pregnant, and I just remember like how even after my son was born, those dogs were so protective of him, and even when my son started walking, there was, the one dog that he was so attached to. um, we have stairs in my house, and that one dog, I mean, he would sit like on the, second and third stair, and that dog like would not let that him like walk up those stairs. Would not let him like go up those stairs like to save that dog's life. It's like he knew. So it's just like they're constantly on guard. Watching them. So animals pick their people for sure, and it just that's what that's how just special they are. So anyways, but uh, I just I thought that was interesting how the kind of the psychological aspect of, how she was feeling about that situation. So anyways, but moving on to, um, the second topic I wanted to talk about, um, the psychological, the psychology of keeping things that we should throw away, or why, or should we keep, or psychologically, or the psychology of keeping things, like, should we throw away things, or why we keep things. So I brought a couple things down, with me. um, why do humans keep objects that hurt them to look at, is the question, right? um, Example, like pet collars, empty food bowls, dried flowers, prescription bottles. I did that for a long time. After, when my one, um, this one here, my Sammy, he was on, Sammy was on, gosh, probably 10 different meds. I kept his prescription bottles for, gosh, 7, 8 years. Um, and I didn't throw them away. And I don't know why. Um, Michelle says, I was very ill and Bubba is very selfish and just wanted to play outside. Yeah, well, yeah, of course he did. Of course he did. Um, right. Uh, but like, why do we keep these things, right? Um, and that they hurt, right? I mean, I've got in my one outside my garden, I have a whole memorial outside in my one garden, and I had decided a few years ago, because I sit outside in my backyard a lot. I decided that I wanted one corner dedicated to the ones that I lost. So I painted a rainbow bridge out there. I've got a statue of a boxer. I've got a statue of a dachshund. And on my rainbow bridge, I have their collars out there on the rainbow bridge, all like old collars on there. And I've got a statue of like St. Francis. And then, of course, I put every holiday I decorate with Christmas trees and pumpkins, and every holiday I decorate around there for, he was just trying to make you feel better. But so I brought down, here, I'll show you these. I brought down two of my guys with me. So I'll show you this. And in our family room, I have in my family room, I have my fireplace, and that's our big family room. So across my fireplace are all my guys here, all of their urns. So I've got everybody here, and then plus Harley is up there, and all of their urns are lined up, and I have angels next to them, and I've got this, I have this picture up there. It's got me, and then they all have little angel wings sitting next there. And then every night there is a string of lights that come on at a certain time, and then little candles that come on. And, so Christmas time, they're always with us. But this is what I wanted to show you as well. Because when we talk about objects that remind us, so this is I brought down two of their urns. So this is my Sammy. This is his urn. And so this is on all of their urns. I keep their collars. No, and you're right, Michelle. They never leave us. So this is my Sammy. This is his urn. This is what is on my fireplace. This is his collar that stays on his urn, and this is the collar that he had on when he passed. And then when we're talking about the things that we don't throw away, this is the day that Sammy passed was it was May 21st, and it was the day that the moderator was going to a 5th grade dance for school, and he passed away in our house. And she was going to a dance, and I bought her this little corsage, and this is called a Forever Rose corsage, and supposedly it's not supposed to die. Yeah, the May dance. And it was sad because, again, she kind of had to hold it together to go to this dance. And he died right before she walked out the door to this dance. And sorry. So sorry. So so this is sorry. Okay, so this is one, sorry. So this is one of the things that we keep with the with his urn. And like, so going back to like what we, one of the things that you don't throw away. And, so on every urn up there has something that you keep. And, why you keep things, I don't know, but this is one of the things that we never threw away, and again, this is one of the things that was like a forever, flower. It doesn't die. And, again, it has, it has dust on it. It has, it's older or whatever, but we keep it on top. And every one of the urns has something different, right? And so his has, the flowers from when she went to the dance, and it's got his collar. And then I'll show you this one. And this was my sweet bee. And I told you she was the one that, I was able, this was my sweetest one that I was able to, rock her until she passed. And this is my most beautiful passing. And hers just has her little, her little collar. I'll tell you what, she's got like the most beautiful little urn. But hers has her little collar with her little sunshine on it. And the most like just, precious little thing. But we, you keep just something on there, right? And there's always hang on, let me put her over there. There's just right, well, right, or unbelievable how even the smallest things hold the biggest feelings, right? And you know what, that's the thing, it's special because one thing can bring you back to the moment, can bring you right back to that moment. That corsage brought me right back to, that whole moment, when everything happened. And, and, and unfortunately, it's like such an emotional connection. And, you know, each one of these guys, you know, they're all so special, and they all bring so much, joy to your life. And, I mean, that was, he passed, like over, 15, 16, years ago. And he still has an impact. And he still like thank you. He still like, taught me so much. He still had, such a beautiful impact on our family, taught us unconditional love. But, he was still the start of all of this. He still was the cause of me being able to help, people for over, 12, 13 years. Had not all that happened, I wouldn't be able to, talk to people all over the United States, and, be able to help people. And, if that's one thing that came out of his loss, then yeah, exactly. Yeah. And my little midnight lived to like 21 years old. I mean, she was such a good girl too. She was such a good girl. She didn't like anybody except for me, but she was a very, very good girl. Yeah, she was a very, very good girl. So, yeah, she was, she was a very good girl. But, yeah, so, um, but yeah, it just, like I said, it's, I, it, like, and I mean, you tell me, like, I mean, list in the chat, like, what are some of the objects that you keep? And I tell people all the time, like, you don't have to, especially after, losing a pet, you don't have to move things. People think sometimes that you have to immediately go through and move things. Um, you do that on your own time. I'll have, you know, I I'll have like family members will tell me, that I have family members that will tell me, oh, my mom or um, my sister or whatever, they still have the pet bowls out, or they still have, this out or the toys out, and I always say, like, what does it bother? Why does it bother you? It doesn't. If it's not, it, it's it, people can move things on their own time. There's no rush in pet loss and grief. Um, yeah, okay, Aaron, there's uneaten treat still laying right beside the fireplace. Right, okay, and there's no reason to move it. It's not hurting anything. And I've said this before too. I have a friend that has a whole room that has all of her dog's toys still in the same spot. And gosh, that's been like 5, 6 years now that dog has been gone. And there's no reason to move it. If it's not hurting anything, there's no reason to move that stuff. Um, People can do things on their own time. Um, there's no reason that you have to do things like that. Uh, and, I often wonder why you know I often wonder why certain things bother other other people. They're especially family members. Just because it's out of your norm, or just because you don't understand things, doesn't make it. You know, I I don't know. Like I said, I always, the big thing with pet loss and grief, that when when other people are grieving and other people that you love are upset, um, and you don't understand, um, that scares people. When your loved ones are crying and you don't know how to quote unquote fix them, that scares people. They don't know what to do, and they get scared, and they want to fix everything. And um, especially, I, no offense, Aaron, but especially men are fixers. And especially, if it's women, they want to fix things, and they get scared, and they want to, they're like, oh, how do I fix her? And sometimes the best thing to do is just listen, and just be there. And there's no fixing sometimes, and you just want to be there, and you just want to listen. And um, but it's scary when the one you love is upset. And um, there's no fixing pet loss and grief. It takes time. It takes time, and there's no timeline on it, unfortunately. It's a lifelong healing. It comes up every once in a while. And um, right, it's great to have someone. Right, the moderator says it's great to have someone who supports you through the tough times, um, and who doesn't hold it against you. Right, that is absolutely true. That is absolutely true. Um, and well, it's great to have people that understand as well. It's great to have people that understand, uh, because not everybody does. But it's also great to have people that have or know about resources like this too. Um, so if you go to places like this, or maybe if you're going to grief support, take them with you. Take them with you so that they can come with you and understand. Because the more that they can understand, the more that they can support you. I always tell people to, make sure that if you are going through a hard time, have somebody that advocates for you. Have somebody that can cancel your plans for you. A lot of times it's tough for people to tell others no. If you don't feel like going somewhere, you don't have to. I mean, we're adults, and some, yeah, you're right. Sometimes it is hard to say no, and sometimes it's hard, to tell other people that, no, I don't feel like going because, yeah, your dog died or your cat died or whatever. And yeah, maybe society will be like, oh yeah, it's just a dog or it's just a cat. But you know what? God damn it. Yeah, it is. But it's also a family member. And maybe they don't get it, but to hell with them. So what if they don't get it? I'm sorry that they don't get it. And I feel really freaking bad for them that they don't get it. You know, I I feel real bad that they don't get it, right? Um, you know what? You are 100% right. Grief is horribly exhausting. Um, and one other thing I know about grief too is, and I don't know about you, but it also makes me, or when I was going through like the real tough part about grief or the grieving process is you kind of feel resentful. Like you're walking around like, everybody else is like happy and you're going through life like normal and you're like, well, why isn't everybody else as, miserable as I am right now? And or I always, when you knew that you had an impending maybe appointment for a euthanasia or whatever, and or maybe if you knew that your pet was ill or um, or dying or whatever, and you always had that you always looked around like, why is everybody else so happy? Or um, it's just kind of always like this resentfulness, like, God, I don't know. I always had that kind of like, God, everybody else is so happy, and here I am, with a dying dog, or just I remember one day I had put Sweet Pea out in the yard, and I was running late for work, or almost late for work, and she was towards the end of her life, and she went out, she went out in the yard to go to the bathroom, and uh, it was just such a sunny, beautiful day, and she went out there and she just walked out there and she just sat out and just was kind of like just out there laying in the sun, and normally I would be like, come on, we got to go, I got to get to work, and I just stopped and just sat down on the deck and was like, you know what, I'm going to be late for work today. I'm going to let her sit in the sun and enjoy the sun. I didn't care. Let her enjoy the sun. How many more days is she going to have to just sit in the sun? And I remember taking a picture of her just sitting out there in the sun and just enjoying it, and just how pretty she looked, and just like how happy and peaceful she looked, and then a few days later I lost her. But um, sometimes you just have to enjoy the sun, and not worry about being on time to work, and just enjoy the little things, right? It sometimes we have to learn lessons from our animals. um and that's another thing too, we go through life a little too fast, and but just take time to enjoy the little things. But you're right, it's all exhausting. It's all exhausting. um I it's um that, and even depending on how you lose your animals. um I always say too, one of the one of the hardest I always found one of the hardest parts was when you actually do have appointment at the vet, one of the hardest parts is when you get in that car to come home, but it's initially when you get in the car and realize that nobody's coming home with you, and it's just that quiet. That to me is one of the hardest uh, one of the hardest moments is that initial, right when you walk out of the vet and you get in the car and you shut that door and realize that nobody's coming home with you. Um, that to me is one of the hardest moments. Uh, you know, and it's all so challenging. It's also challenging, which is another reason why when I've had to do I've had to take that ride. I've had to take that ride 3 times, and um, it's never easy. It's never easy. I've you know let me back that up. I've had to take that ride 3 times with my own. I've taken that ride a few other times with friends or people that have had to do it with their pets. I've done it with people so that with their pets so that they didn't have to be alone. Um, I don't enjoy by any means um, having to sit through it, but I also don't want people to have to be alone during that. Um, I you know, I it just I I've always been alone during it. I don't want people to be alone during it. Um, so that's just something that I offer people. If they want somebody to be with them, I will be with them. And so you know, it's just like I said, it's uh it's a very very lonely time. And you know, pet loss and grief is a lonely time, right? So it's always good to be supported. And um, you know, that's one thing that when it's interesting. I was telling the moderator that one thing that I think can be improved on when when we had taken Coco for her surgery, and I was sitting in the one ER at one of the facilities. They didn't. One of the things I kind of thought would be nice is, again, when you walk out after a euthanasia, you walk out with nothing. And I don't know, I think it would be nice to be able to walk out with something. Whether, I mean, not like it's gonna change anything, and not like it's gonna, you know, I don't know. Maybe if you get to walk out with something, like maybe you know, I don't know if it's you guys tell me. Would if maybe if you got if they gave you something, if they gave you some sort of, you know, stuffed animal or something, would that make it easier? You tell me. If they gave you some sort of like comfort something, would that make it nice? I think it'd be kind of nice to have something to walk out, or do you think that that would be triggering? You tell me. I think it would be kind of nice to be handed something, rather than handed nothing. I mean, but maybe I'm, or would that, or do you think that that would be some sort of bad remembrance? I don't know. But I looked at it like when we were, yeah, I see. I think it would be nice too. But like I said, when we were at that emergency clinic, I kept seeing people walk out with these empty leashes, and all I kept thinking was, I think it would be nice if somebody, like, it maybe gave you like some sort of, I don't know, blanket or stuffed animal, or something, some sort of memory, something, maybe a bag with maybe a memory frame, or something. I don't know. But you tell me, what do you think? them giving you something would be nice, um, rather than just saying, "Hey, here you go, bye." Um, I don't know. I think it would be nice, but something, maybe a candle. I don't know. I don't know. That's how I think, though. Um, yeah, or something like, rather than just a bill. Um, right, like something that shows, like, right, right, and and that's well, and it's funny that you say that because Dave, it's funny that you say that because um, even when even when we were sitting there, there was tons of people that walked by, and now mind you, like we were there for Coco's surgery, and I was like a blubbering mess. I probably embarrassed the hell out of the moderator. Um, I was like a blubbering mess and worried about Coco. And I nobody like stopped and said anything. You would think that they would have like at least offered me a tissue or something, but nobody like stopped and like, was like, hey, wanted to say something. Like somebody said something. Um, like right, right. So you know what though? It's like good in your life. Like, right. Put something good in your life like a hobby or a plant or something. I like, you know what? That's Michelle, that's a good idea. Someone said to me, put something good in your life like a hobby or a plant or something you love doing. That's a good idea, Michelle. I agree. Like a hobby or plant. I like that. That is a good idea. That's a good idea. Um, yeah, that's a good idea. Sunshine Girl, where are you from? What area are you from? Um, yeah, no, that is a good idea. Yeah. And you know what too, it's only been 7 weeks too, and it's, I mean, your loss is really fresh too. Um yeah, like I said, it's only been 7 weeks. That is still very, very, it's been very, very, very recent since you've had your loss too of Bella. That's very recent. Um, Make sure, and please make sure you reach out to me on Facebook too. Um, Go to the pardon my Frenchie, this is me on Facebook, and reach out to me on there too, please. Um, and keep in touch there as well. But yeah, that's like I said, you're still at the beginning of your journey with your loss. It's like I said, you've got some healing to do, but like I said, we'll be there with you through it. We'll be there with you through it because we've been there. We have been there, and um, it takes time. It took me a very, very it took me a very, very long time with my Sammy. He was Sammy was one of my Sammy was my first hard loss, and he took me well, he's the one that started all this, and he's the one that had me dive into pet loss and grief, and how I got certified in pet loss and grief, because honestly I couldn't wrap my head around why I was grieving so hard. I had never gone through grief like it, and I didn't understand the whole. I didn't understand why I was feeling what I was feeling, and I was kind of the same way that you were. I just couldn't. I would break out and cry all the time, and I would just have good days. I'd have bad days, and I thought there was something wrong with me. And then what I realized was that there was absolutely nothing wrong with me. But I'll be honest with you, it went on for a long time. Went on for a long time. And then what I, realized in my studying and all that was that, pet loss and grief is an ongoing process, and it's a journey. It's a journey. And, um, I, that was when it became my mission that if I'm going through this, then there's other people going through this, and which then came to my statement of, pet loss and grief is a very, very lonely process. And, that's where the tagline comes in. If you don't have a friend, you have one now, because again, it's lonely, and people need to know that you're not alone. You have got support, you have got friends out there. And while you're going through this, you've got friends, and we're here for you. So you absolutely have support. And while you're going through the roughest parts of it, we are here for you. So we'll get you through it. And then when you're at the point where you're at peace, you can help other people get through it as well. So, just stay with us, and like I said, then hopefully your journey will help other people, because that's how also you're going to be able to heal, because your stories about Bella will help other people, and the more you talk about her, the more you will heal. And that's the beauty of it too, because all the love that she gave you, um, is will keep her spirit alive. And that's the best thing. That's the best thing, because that's how we heal. They gave us unconditional love. And that's how we give back to them. That's how we give back to them. So um but yeah, I'm just, like I said, I'm so glad everybody found us. And again, everybody that's new here, I appreciate you. So we've got, again, Frenchy Friday on Friday. I'm gonna grab my candle so we can light the candle we can light the candle for Bella. We're gonna light the candle for everybody that has lost somebody, whether it is new, whether it is this year, last year, whenever, even if it is years and years ago. Let me light this up. And because they are all precious, and they are all loved. And so here is our candle in honor of all of those that are loved. And my candle says, "My faithful friend, you're no longer by my side, but you're forever in my heart." And Michelle says, your cat, oh yeah, your cat Hope too. Aw, love it. So yep, we are honoring all of those who have loved or lost, and we have loved. So we have Frenchy Friday, and then always our pet loss on Tuesday. Hit like, comment, and subscribe buttons. And then again, I've got the new community on YouTube, and then which we'll post on there some more. Hit up the Facebook group. I've got Facebook. I've got what do you call it? Instagram and TikTok and X and all sorts of things. So, and oh yeah, don't forget about the moderator snails. All those snails. And so yeah, we will have a show, Frenchy Friday, on Friday. Now, if for some reason there is not a show on Friday, because I do plan on taking my son camping on Friday. It is his birthday, so if for some reason something happens on Friday, then we'll resume on Tuesday. I'm worried that with camping, there might be Wi-Fi issues. So if for some reason we're not on Frenchy Friday, then it'll resume either maybe Sunday night or we'll definitely be back on Tuesday. But yeah, I'm just worried that there might be Wi-Fi issues out there for some reason because we'll be out in the woods. So if for some reason there's Wi-Fi issues, we'll be back on Tuesday. So that's the only thing I'm worried about is maybe Wi-Fi issues. So if for some reason we're not on Friday, it'll definitely be on Tuesday. So yeah, so I'm taking the boy camping on Friday. So we'll see how that all turns out. But yes, thank you, thank you. 13 years old. Thank you, 13 years old, and so yeah, we'll and hopefully. Oh no! Oh no! You know, yeah, we're hoping that it's supposed to rain for I don't know. It's supposed to rain a little bit, so hopefully not a lot. So we'll see. But we're supposed to go fishing, and hopefully there's no fishing hooks in anybody's face, and grilling and all sorts of things. So, with his broken arm or broken wrist or whatever, there's not a lot he can do. But so we'll see. But anyway, so hopefully we'll be back Friday as long as the Wi-Fi is working. But if not, we'll definitely be back on Tuesday. So, but again, hit up on Facebook, and I know, right? 13 years, 13, and already a teenager. So good Lord. But anyway, so thank you guys for coming back or coming on tonight. I really, really appreciate everybody, and tell everybody about the channel. I appreciate and care about everybody, and again, take care, and we will see you guys hopefully on Friday, and if not, then Tuesday. So see you guys later. Have a good night. Thank you for stopping by. Take care. Have a good night. Bye. Bye.